We've got Hamas fighters re-emerging, according to multiple reports, in the north. So when we look at Netanyahu's stated aim to eliminate Hamas's military capability, does this show that that's basically an impossible task?
Well, Tom, that is a very difficult task for Israel, a very, very difficult task. What Israel plainly needs to do is have some idea of, or some good plan for what the governance structure in Gaza looks like the day after they've finished their operation. Now, I've interviewed Netanyahu more than any other Australian journalist, and historically I think he's made a big contribution to Israel. But I think it is dysfunctional for Israel to still have him at the top, because even if he is waging this battle for the best of reasons, it looks as though he's doing it to stay in office, because while the battle is raging, all the legal actions and political actions against him and his need to take moral and political responsibility for allowing the October 7 tragedy to occur, all of that is postponed. Now, how Israel goes about setting up a governing structure in Gaza, I don't know, but they plainly need to get something organised, and there's been a lack of coherent narrative from Israel. So, you know, I'm identified as a supporter of Israel, I am, but like everyone else, I'm not uncritical of Israel. There are big, big challenges in Gaza and a terrible humanitarian tragedy. The lion's share of the moral responsibility for that lies with Hamas, and they could have a ceasefire tomorrow if they would release 33 hostages.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, look, this happened quickly, this war, but it does seem, as you alluded to there, that there's the entry point was obvious, the exit point and how that happens is less so. Let's talk about the Donald Trump trial. Michael Cohen, the fixer, is how he describes himself. What have you made of this? Because it's not exactly what Trump's used to in his sort of, you know, style of debate and so on. He's gagged, he's sitting there slumped in the courtroom. Is this something he just wishes was over now?
I'm sure he does, Tom. But on the other hand, it doesn't, very weirdly, everything about Trump and politics is weird. It doesn't seem to be hurting him at all in American polls. I mean, overnight there's a real clear politics aggregate of polls, and in every swing state except Michigan, Trump is 6 or 7 points ahead, and in Michigan he's 1 point behind. This is humiliating for Trump. He has to sit in a courtroom and listen to all these sordid details of his tryst with Stormy Daniels, or the alleged tryst, being played out in court. I think Trump is a seamy and sordid character, but I think the Biden presidency is unravelling, and this prosecution itself is unravelling, and all the other prosecutions against Trump are unravelling. So Trump is not being charged with having a low-grade sex life with Stormy Daniels. He's being charged with a weirdly abstruse charge that he recorded the hush money as a legal expense instead of a campaign expense, and that might have been against campaign laws. But, you know, it's beyond the statute of limitations. It's a trivial offence. I do think most Americans see this as an abuse of prosecutorial process, and the very fact that 4 big prosecutions were launched against Trump simultaneously makes all of them look like a political put-up job. It's certainly humiliating for Trump. Now, here's a fascinating thing to watch, though, Tom. There's a report that Trump is insisting on testifying. That would be the dumbest thing he could possibly do, and it's always backfired on him in any previous trial.
I got to admit, I saw this and thought, okay, I don't think you're listening to your lawyers if that's what you're going to do. We'll see. Hey, trying to predict him is hard. We went to talk about the budget. We've gone over time, Greg. I'm sure you can pour through it and have your thoughts afterwards. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.